Hey guys, it's Mark back with another video slash audio. I know you guys are probably like, where's the video? But today is strictly going to be based off of audio. So you don't really need to pay attention if I pop a photo in or anything during the video. I'll tell you. So just kind of relax and just listen. Okay, so for the past 2 years, we have been in a pandemic, and it's kind of slowed down the process of everything. And a lot of people have had a lot of time to think and process things, whether it be in a good way or a bad way. And for me, during quarantine, I was going through a very hard time. If you've been one of my subscribers who actually watches the videos and have been watching over the past 2 years, and I didn't think that I was going to come back from it. I don't think I even ever have expressed how hard that was for me. And I still have not even told the story, because even now, almost 3 years later, it's still hard to. And a lot of people don't like to admit to how vulnerable they are in situations like this, because everybody puts up a facade of being so hard. Yes, I am a strong person, but in this type of moment, I feel like we all can relate that this isn't easy for anybody, no matter how strong you are. Once I had to detach my emotions, it felt like death. And I just want to finally talk about this and all the things that I learned from it. I do feel like I'm in a better place to now talk about it. Yes, it took 3 years. I'm a strong person, but I do like to give myself time to process things. And also, it's just, when you put certain information out there, it can come back and bite you in regards to maybe relationships in the future, because I do have people that I talk to that will watch my channel to kind of use that information to, at their own benefit. But the main purpose of holding back for so long was because I wasn't ready. I don't want to spend too much time on actually the story of that, because that would be probably a separate video. But I want to talk about the things that I learned and just everything else. All of us go through heartbreak, and all of us once upon a time have given all of ourselves away to somebody, and we were pure, and our hearts got smashed. We just pick up the pieces and we keep going, and we like to act like that never happened, like that never faced us. But I'm here to talk and be vulnerable and tell my experience. I don't wish this on anybody. Let's just say that. I don't wish this type of emotional trauma on anyone. 3 years. It took me 3 years. But let's get into it. I do not completely at all converse with my ex at all. So if you're somebody out here that's watching to kind of, just kind of figure that out, we don't talk at all. This is just a disclaimer. This is my experience. There's my side, there's his side, and there's the truth. Like I said, I'm only speaking my side, and this is how I process things. It may not line up with, whatever you heard. I don't know. But that's not the point here. Let's keep going. So phase one of the trauma. At first, my first emotion was anger. I was very, very angry, and I began to rebel. I instantly backed out of the situation after we split. I was very, very angry. I was very, very angry at him. And I would go out and to pursue other guys. And that's when, and it was basically, it wasn't because I needed to. It's because it was to fill the void of missing him. But also in my situation, I had the opportunity to go back to him. But my pride would not let me go back, because I felt like I had been betrayed. So I didn't want to go back, but I didn't want to move forward. And that wasn't easy for me. So I was angry with him, and through the midst of all this going on, we still communicated. I packed up my things and I left, and I went and stayed with my gay father at the time, and we still communicated for like a month and a half without us staying together. I was just angry. I hated him, but I didn't hate him enough to leave him alone. Like I knew I wasn't done. I just needed time. And I told him this, even though he cheated on me. But I walked away and I was very upset with him. I would entertain other guys to fill the void of missing him while also texting him. And I remember a month and a half had passed, and then I had been gone so long. And I had finally had the time to basically process my emotions and like go back into this. And when I finally decided to hit him to kind of rekindle things, I felt like he had already moved on. That is one thing that crumbled my heart the most. But was it the fair thing to do? What I've learned in that situation was I should have never walked away. When you put distance in a relationship, you teach people how to live without you. I say that if you ever have an issue with anybody that you're dealing with, don't take a break, don't leave. You sit there and you talk through it. I was gone a month and a half processing my emotions. Yes, I needed time to process my emotions, but if I wasn't sure that I was done, I shouldn't have left. And that's one thing that I regret doing, but it doesn't justify me going out and talking to other men. And it was a lot of situations where even after that, I tried to go back and he was like, no, I just want to, he had gotten so comfortable with me not being there. Or he would text me and be like, let's have sex. And I just wasn't comfortable with having sex before, we had the conversation of where we were going after we just went through this. And in my mind, I was just under the impression that, he just didn't give a fuck. Over time, the conversations got way, way more drawn out. We were talking less, and that was the last thing I wanted to happen. The last thing I wanted to happen was not to be talking to him. I was hurt. I was angry. I felt like I needed space, and I gave that to myself, but I lost him. Once the tables had turned, it was a very eye-opening experience. I felt like I had been betrayed. I've gave more of myself away than I had ever have. I created my world around him, and I don't think he realized it. I didn't realize I depended on him so heavily. He probably looks at the situation like I was draining him, but because I can be a draining person, and that is something that I have made note of. I do wear my heart on my sleeves. I'm very emotional. I'm very moody. I've grown from it. I know now, but when I look back on it, this was almost 3 years ago. I was 19, about to be 20, and then going into being 21. So I was young. I wasn't emotionally stable. I wasn't financially stable. That was an issue. I was younger, dating a guy almost a decade older than me. I'm just attracted to older guys because I had to grow up fast. He wasn't a decade. It was almost a decade, but yeah. And after I felt like I had been betrayed, I was angry again. And then after I processed that anger, because I came down from the anger at one point, and I was ready to work on us, and I got the door shut in my face. I was angry again for a couple of days. I began being very, very sad because this was not the outcome that I wanted. I felt like I was doing it right. I felt like I took the time to go away and heal by myself, and I come back in ready to love him again. But that just wasn't the case. He had moved on. Although the time was necessary for me to heal, and you can't always heal with that person in your face. At least that's how I felt. I probably could have worked through it with him, definitely. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't think that was even possible to work through, cheating with the person that cheated. And that was just what it was. And I just couldn't take that. For my personal experience with my relationship, I wasn't working like that. I was working 3 days or maybe 2 days out the week at Walgreens. And I was working 4 hour shifts. So I wasn't making any money. He was paying all the bills. So he made some good money, FYI. But a lot of people think that, he used to spoil me. I'm a very independent person. I wouldn't take his money. I wouldn't take any of his money. I actually felt bad that he was paying all the bills. And I would try to, work more and stuff like that to kind of just help out with the bills. But it was only so much I can do. He worked at a hospital. He was almost 30. He was always going to make more money than me. And I was trying to keep up with him. And it was just not realistic, especially being at 19 and 20, just trying to keep up with his financial stability. And I haven't even given myself time to grow into that or possibly get a career. And he had one. So that was a lot of stress. But point is, I wasn't working like that. I was just working 2 or 3 days. It was just a coincidence that the time of the breakup, my job gave me an offer to move to overnight. And it was a full-time position. I hadn't been working full-time that entire time, and I definitely took it. I took it. It was from 10 p.m. at night to 8 in the morning. 7 days a week. I will work 7 days on and 7 days off. And I'm painting the picture of what schedule I was working to make me able to cope with this. And also I had been already doing applications for a new job because I was trying to make more money, and they just offered me that. So I took it, but I got an interview for another job at a hotel for the morning. Maybe I can earn him back. And this is something that I didn't want to admit to myself, but this is what I was doing. I said that I'm going to be the best version of myself to subconsciously in my head win him back without saying it. I wanted to be the best version of myself. I wanted to make it seem like I didn't need him. And with that, he would want me back. And I worked my ass off 18 hours a day. I worked from 10 p.m. at night to 8 in the morning. I left that job and made it to the next job at 8:30. And I got off at 4 p.m., sometimes 5. And I would fly home and sleep for about 3 or 4 hours. And I would wake back up at 9 to be back that night at 10. I did this for almost 6 months, repetitively. And the money was amazing. When I tell you I was thriving, I remember in 1 month I bought 6 pairs of shoes. I bought a hoverboard. I was just buying all type of shit. I got my nose pierced. I was just spending so much money. I didn't have a lot of time to spend it, but I was working 2 jobs and I was working myself to death. I was working 18 hours a day and I was working both jobs off of 3 or 4 hours. And this is how I coped with missing him. And this opened the door to so many things that I just can't take back. I started posting pictures of me in my underwear. I started being more sexual on social media. And it was because I was trying to gain his attention, trying to show him what he missed, but it opened the door for something else. And I was never a sexual person, but going through that gave birth to me being a sexual person and posting pictures like that. It was never for anybody else. It was always initially to win him back, to show him what he missed. It's to give yourself time to actually feel those emotions, admit those emotions, and actually feel the pain and just go through it. If I wasn't working so much, I would have been so sad. And I was sad even when I was there. But it took a lot of weight off my shoulders being distracted. I listened to a lot of music. I cried a lot of nights. A lot of people didn't know I was hurting so bad. I was crying myself to sleep. A year later. And that took a part out of me that I don't think I'll ever get back. 3 years later, it took me a year to start back dating. but I've been trying to get back to who I was before I was hurt. And I don't think that it will ever be back. I don't think that I'll ever give myself away like I did then. And I don't think it's necessary to give myself away like that. It wasn't healthy. You shouldn't build your happiness around anybody. You should always own your independence. So when you walk away, you won't have so much of an emotional attachment. It's always going to hurt, but it shouldn't you shouldn't give yourself away so much so that to the point where you can't live without someone. And I had to learn that. In phase 3, after going through everything that I went through, where do I stand now with the situation? I'm very disappointed with how I did things. I'm very disappointed with because I can only be accountable for my actions. I don't know why he did certain things. He was going through his own stuff, and that's not for me to figure out. I never got closure or anything like that. I don't look for closure. And this situation taught me that you may not always get closure. You should be able to be okay with not having closure and move on. And that's what I've learned. This situation taught me a lot. I've grown a lot mentally. This is something that will definitely always stick with me. He's a little bit older, so I know that he's been through not a lot of relationships, but probably a few relationships. So the impact that he had on me, I probably didn't have on him. Because I had never been in love like this before. And this humbled me so much. I don't play with any type of feelings because it's way more serious than a lot of people want to admit. And I definitely don't want to put anybody through anything that I've been through. It's taught me a lot. I don't hate him. I think that's kind of like the last phase of it. And that is it. It was a lesson and I love that. But you guys, that is just basically the things that, I learned about being in love and being, going through heartbreak. We don't talk about this enough. This is very traumatizing. Like a lot of situations are that we don't want to admit. If you're listening to this, I know that we aren't taught to handle our emotions. We're taught to suppress them. But I think we should work on actually feeling them and letting them play out. We can't properly process our emotions. We've been taught to suppress them. So, yeah. I'm in the bed. I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but I'm going to try to do more of these. I didn't realize I could actually talk so much. I actually could go for an hour talking about this, but I'm going to cut it off right here. I feel like it's long enough. I summed it up as much as I could, and here we are approaching almost 30 minutes. But, guys, don't be scared to fall because you may fall into a better situation. I like to feel like I'm a part of that better situation. You're already here, so you might as well subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay positive and stay safe. I feel like we can help each other. This world rotates off of relations and communication. And we have people out here who want to make money off of that. So we have to use the resources we have, and we have each other. So we should definitely use that. So yeah, I'm open to having conversations about anything, and I'll definitely be venting to you too. I need help too. So this just won't be a one-sided thing. We can bounce experiences and just talk about it and help one another. And guys, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.